The police picks up the pace by summoning key officials from the Korean Medical Association for questioning over the recent collective action by trainee doctors. Amid the ongoing disruption, some hospitals are considering merging wards. Current U.S. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump dominated the Super Tuesday contests, meaning a rematch in November looms large. Consumer price growth in Korea was back up to over 3% last month because of higher prices of fruits among agricultural items. It's March 6, 2024. This is Newscenter. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Yoon Min. Police have summoned Korean Medical Association officials for questioning over the trainee doctors' collective action. Amid the ongoing disruption, major hospitals in the capital are considering merging wards. Shin Se-byuk starts us off.
Police on Wednesday summoned Chu So-ho, spokesperson of the Korean Medical Association Emergency Committee, for questioning over the ongoing trainee doctors' walkout. Trainee doctors in South Korea submitted letters of resignation on February 20th and stopped working to protest the government's planned increase in the admissions quota for medical schools. Before facing police questioning, Ju firmly rejected accusations made against him and argued that the collective resignation of resident doctors was a peaceful and voluntary act.
Government and civic groups who filed a complaint against us will be in for a surprise because we never encouraged a walkout. So the accusation of incitement simply doesn't hold up.
Last Tuesday, the Health Ministry lodged a formal complaint with police against 5 officials from the KMA, accusing them of multiple offenses such as violating medical laws and disrupting business operations. Following June, next up for questioning is former KMA President Noh Han-gyu on Saturday. 3 other officials are in the process of scheduling questioning with the police. This came as some 7,000 doctors in training now face proceedings aimed at suspending their medical licenses. On Tuesday, the government began sending out advance notices about the administrative procedures facing doctors who have not returned to work in defiance of a return-to-work order. Following the issuance of the notices, doctors will have a 2-week period to submit their defense through written statements. Should the administrative actions be upheld, their medical licenses will be suspended for 3 months. Amid continuing disruption to medical services, 5 major hospitals in Seoul, including Seoul National University Hospital, said they were exploring the possibility of merging wards to enhance the efficiency of patient care. With the medical system being restructured to focus on patients with critical or emergency needs, there is a plan to treat patients with less urgent conditions in a single ward, much like the approach taken during the COVID-19 pandemic. Other hospitals across the country are also considering either not operating certain medical departments or merging wards. Shin Se-byuk, Arirang News.
As we just heard, thousands of junior doctors continue their boycott against a plan to expand the number of medical students in universities. And President Yoon Suk-yeol is sending a strong message. Our correspondent Oh Soo-young is on the line to fill us in. Soo-young, I heard the president today chaired meetings in the administrative capital of Sejong. What's the latest?
Hi there, Jung-min. Yes, we just saw the president himself chairing a meeting of the Central Disaster and Safety Countermeasures headquarters as he continues to urge thorough measures from the medical authorities to ensure that public healthcare remains very well in operation. At the cabinet meeting that he chaired earlier this afternoon, Yoon addressed his ministers there, and he issued a firm warning to the thousands of doctors who are neglecting their duty to their patients, saying that illegal collective action that violates people's rights to life cannot be tolerated.
의사들의 집단 행동은 스스로 책무를 져버리는 일이며 자유주의와 법치주의의 근간을 흔드는 것입니다. 국민의 생명을 볼모로 하는 불법적인 집단 행동에는 법과 원칙에 따라 엄중히 대응할 수밖에 없습니다.
He said that as the state is constitutionally obliged to protect the lives and health of its people, doctors are licensed to carry out this heavy public duty. He said that doctors' rights and freedoms, they also come with responsibility, shooting down the claims that suspending licenses for doctors taking part in the illegal boycott is an infringement of their rights. Over 7,000 junior doctors are on the verge of having their licenses suspended. Yoon said that they're ignoring the voices of the Korean public, including the wider medical community, patient groups, and organizations representing people with disabilities.
And Soo-young, the government has tens of millions of dollars prepared for emergency use to stabilize the medical system. Tell us more.
Sure, the president indeed said that the government has around $96 million at the ready to ensure that emergency care and essential services can be provided across hospitals. Now, this came as Yoon chaired a cabinet meeting on Wednesday where he said the government will take all necessary measures needed to protect the patients. This is going to involve running a pilot project for nurses to support medical treatments, deploy military doctors, and also support labor costs to recruit additional personnel. Also, Yoon said that the so-called big five hospitals in the country, they're going to focus on treating seriously ill patients, while the local general hospitals are going to tend to those in less critical conditions. Now, these measures, the president said, would help stabilize the medical delivery system amid the ongoing crisis, of course, caused by junior doctors stretching on for more than 15 days now.
And he also made some conciliatory remarks while laying out his intentions to proceed with the medical reform.
Yes, so while he issued this stern warning to doctors neglecting their duty and breaking the law, he reiterated that reforming the structure of the healthcare system can no longer be delayed. At the same time, he once again pledged to spare no investment and support to raise the capacity and the quality of medical schools in order to meet global standards, and also promised to actively heed suggestions from the medical community. The president also said that authorities will address the laborious sacrifices made by young resident doctors, restructuring the personnel system to provide optimal support for specialists. He noted that since the national healthcare insurance was first introduced in 1977, the number of doctors has grown to only 7 times what it was back then, and the number of medical school students 2.2 times during the same period, showing the sheer shortage of medical staff to treat the Korean population, despite medical expenses having spiked over 500 times. He dismissed claims that the quality of medical schools will fall if they accept more students, pointing out that countries like Germany, Britain, they have over 220 medical students per school, compared to Korea's 77. So it seems that the president is doing all he can to really reason with these junior doctors, while stressing that enough is enough. Back to you, Tongmin.
All right, thanks a lot, Soo-young. We appreciate your coverage. Moving on, following the launch of the administration's child care initiative for elementary schools, President Yoon urged relevant agencies to fully support and promptly address any issues related to it. This as he chaired today a meeting of the Neulbom program headquarters. The president stated that a quick and smooth implementation of the program would not only help children's healthy growth, but also ease the burden on parents considering job changes or resignations due to child care concerns. He emphasized that the program is a vital national task and called on all ministries to cooperate for its success. Also during the cabinet meeting, President Yoon said that the ongoing ROK-US combined military exercise, the Freedom Shield, will reaffirm the Allied forces' solid combined defense posture. He added that there is a high chance of North Korean provocations attempting to disturb South Korean society ahead of the upcoming general election. Meanwhile, President Yoon on Wednesday hosted John Henry, the president of the Center for Strategic and International Studies, and Victor Cha, the Korea chair of CSIS, at his office for lunch. The president acknowledged the Washington-based think tank's role as a reliable supporter of the alliance, including becoming the first U.S. think tank to establish a Korean chair position. The CSIS chief responded by saying that the South Korea-U.S. alliance is making significant strides under the president's leadership. South Korea this year seeks to spend more on strengthening its military power, specifically its three-axis system, to better respond to evolving North Korean threats. It also focuses on boosting arms exports. Our Pei Yun-ji explains.
South Korea plans to spend more than $5 billion this year on building overwhelming military power to counter North Korea's nuclear and missile threats. This is a 12% budget increase compared to last year. Announcing this on Wednesday, the country's Defense Acquisition Program Administration said the budget will be used to deploy a next-generation Aegis destroyer and a 3,000-ton strategic submarine, as well as to develop a long-range surface-to-air missile for a layered missile defense system. These are the key weapons needed for the country's so-called three-axis defense system, a strategy for the country's military to respond to an attack from the north. It includes first, preemptively striking North Korea's nuclear and missile sites, second, intercepting the North's missiles, and third, mass retaliation against North Korea following an attack on the south. The budget will also be used to strengthen space power. After launching its first military spy satellite late last year, the country aims to put 2 more satellites into orbit by the end of this year. This is part of South Korea's efforts to boost the independent monitoring capabilities of North Korea, as the satellites are expected to help reduce the heavy reliance on U.S. satellite imagery. Meanwhile, the country also aims to spend about $1.8 billion to develop new military technologies, focusing on fields such as artificial intelligence and quantum technology. The government said it aims to become the world's 7th advanced country in military technology by 2027. And also by 2027, South Korea aims to become the 4th largest arms exporter in the world. To achieve this, the government said it aims to reach $20 billion in arms exports this year. 배은지, Arirang News.
Moving on to the U.S., President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump dominated on Super Tuesday, the biggest primary elections and caucuses day in America. They will likely meet head-to-head for a rematch in November. Our Kim Jong-sil has more.
It looks like the Biden-Trump November rematch is going to happen. On so-called Super Tuesday, when the largest number of primaries and caucuses took place across America, U.S. President Joe Biden and his predecessor Donald Trump both dominated the results, all but cementing a November rematch. Biden and Trump each had landslide wins in California, Texas, Alabama, Maine, Oklahoma, Virginia, North Carolina, Minnesota, Tennessee, Colorado, Arkansas, and Massachusetts. Former President Donald Trump celebrated Tuesday's wins at his Mar-a-Lago estate, which was crowded with his supporters.
Well, thank you very much. They call it Super Tuesday for a reason. This is a big one.
He then went on to criticize President Biden over illegal immigration across the U.S.-Mexico border.
And we're going to close our borders. We're going to have to deport a lot of people, a lot of bad people, because our countries can't live like this. Our cities.
President Joe Biden didn't give a speech, but instead released a statement saying Tuesday's results leave, quote, the American people with a clear choice. Are we going to keep moving forward, or will we allow Donald Trump to drag us backwards into the chaos, division, and darkness that defined his term in office? Biden added Trump was, quote, driven by grievance and grift, focused on his own revenge and retribution, not the American people. This Tuesday, voters in 16 states and 1 territory chose who they want to run for president. It's traditionally the biggest day in the U.S. for primary elections and caucuses before the actual election day, which is why it's called Super Tuesday. The day's results usually get a lot of attention as they give a clear indication of who will become the presidential candidate for their respective parties. Kim Jong-sil, Arirang News.
Despite efforts by mediators, prospects of a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas ahead of the Islamic holy month of Ramadan are looking grim. Yoon covers the issues of contention.
International mediators from the U.S., Egypt, and Qatar have been in negotiation with Hamas for a ceasefire in Gaza. The mediators have been trying to come to an agreement where Hamas would release Israeli hostages in return for a 6-week ceasefire, the release of some Palestinian prisoners, and more aid to Gaza. But the 3 days of negotiations failed to make a breakthrough on Tuesday. This comes less than a week before the start of Ramadan, the Muslim fasting month, which had been the informal deadline for a deal. Israel has demanded Hamas hand over a list of captives who are alive, as well as the captive-to-prisoner ratio it seeks in any release deal,
to which Hamas has said the group did not have information on which captives were alive or dead. They also said the captives were being held by numerous groups in multiple locations. At a press conference in Beirut on Tuesday, senior Hamas official Osama Hamdan said that his group wants a permanent ceasefire rather than a pause and a complete withdrawal of Israeli forces.
We reiterate that what the enemy failed to achieve on the battlefield, he will not achieve at the negotiating table. The security and safety of our people will not be achieved except with a permanent ceasefire, the end of the aggression, and the withdrawal from every inch of the Gaza Strip. Providing urgent and appropriate shelter and bringing aid to our people in Gaza is our top priority, and any exchange of prisoners cannot take place before all this is achieved.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has publicly rejected such demands, pledging that the war would go on until Hamas is dismantled and all the captives are returned. Israel did not send a delegation to the latest round of talks due to Hamas not providing the hostage list. With the fasting month of Ramadan, which starts on March 10th, Hamas negotiators agreed on Tuesday to stay for at least one more day of talks. Palestinian-Israeli violence has spiked during Ramadan in previous years, creating a strong incentive for leaders to reach a deal before next week. Ian-jin, Arirang News.
Consumer prices in Korea accelerated 3.1% last month, reversing 3 months of deceleration because of higher prices for agricultural items. Park Go-nu with the details.
Consumer prices in South Korea once again rose by over 3% on year last month, mainly due to higher prices for agricultural products and unstable oil prices. According to data released by Statistics Korea on Wednesday, the country's consumer price index, a key gauge of inflation, rose 3.1% in February compared to the same month a year ago. Consumer prices reached 3.8% on year in October. That was followed by consecutive monthly decreases until last month's jump. Prices for agricultural products, energy, industrial products, and services were all up on year in February, with agricultural products and energy mainly driving the overall increase, rising 11.4% and 4.9% respectively. And with consumer prices remaining high, Finance Minister Choi Sang-mok spoke about ways to tackle the issue at an economic meeting held with related ministers on Wednesday morning.
The government will do its very best to bring consumer prices to the 2% range as soon as possible by taking the recent rise seriously.
He said the government will provide 60 billion won, or roughly $45 million worth of support for discounts on agricultural, livestock, and fishery products in March and April, dropping the price of major food items including apples and pears by 40 to 50%, lowering tariffs on imported fruit, monitoring prices by item daily, and continuing inspections at gas stations were other ways he said would be used to address the situation. While saying ingredient prices have dropped by about half compared to highs seen in 2022, he added companies should lower the prices of products accordingly, just as they did to raise them when ingredient prices got higher. Park Go-nu, Arirang News.
Drones can be used in everyday life and for many purposes like defense and entertainment. You can check them out at the annual Drone Show Korea this week, showcasing the latest technologies. Our An Song-jin went there to find out more.
A boundless expansion of drones. This is the theme of the 2024 Drone Show Korea, the largest of its kind in Asia. The 3-day event held in the city of Busan caters to more than 200 drone-related businesses from 10 different countries, including China, the Czech Republic, and the U.S. Hosted by the Trade and Transport Ministries as well as other governmental organizations, the show aims to act as a platform that connects the private, public, military, and education sectors to establish a drone industry ecosystem.
We are focusing here in the Korea for another partnership and cooperation with drone companies, but also the research institutes and authorities. So we are also in the central of the Europe, and I think it is a very good access point to the Europe market, also for the Korean companies. So we are here to strengthen this cooperation and together develop this drone industry.
Domestic drone-related private companies showcased how drones can be commercialized and used in everyday life. It displayed the latest technologies in urban air mobility as a monitoring system for vehicle safety and traffic management.
When first developed, drones were manually controlled. Now this VR mock flying simulation shows one of the technologies from South Korea's defense industry, which uses artificial intelligence.
The integration of drones in the defense sector is expected to grow as AI-based manned and unmanned combat systems are developed further. It also presented the use of high-altitude unmanned aerial vehicles, which are now in mass production.
As the number of military personnel is expected to decrease over time, the operation area that one person has to cover will increase. In such cases, this can be replaced by drones to increase efficiency.
The exhibition also promoted various drone entertainment, such as drone racing VR, drone football esports, drone basketball demonstrations, and other displays. South Korea's drone market is expected to reach more than $1 billion in market value by 2030. As the government stresses the need for sufficient R&D and infrastructure, the framework for necessary regulations will be critical in advancing the drone industry. An Song-jin, Arirang News, Busan.
South Korean tech giant Samsung Electronics' Galaxy S24 Ultra has topped U.S. product tester Consumer Reports' latest smartphone rankings. According to industry sources on Wednesday, the Galaxy S24 Ultra scored 87 points out of 100, beating out Apple's iPhone 15 Pro Max. Consumer Reports praised the phone for its AI features, which it described as being both practical and impressive. Other Samsung smartphones, such as the Galaxy S24 Plus and the Galaxy S23 Ultra, also ranked 3rd and 4th, respectively.
Sporadic rain clouds are distributed across areas on the east coast and Jeju Island, which are affected by easterly winds. From this evening, light rain will start in Chungcheongbuk-do province and southern inland areas. In mountainous areas with low temperatures, there may be places where rain turns into snow. This rain and snow will mostly die out overnight, but will start again tomorrow morning in many inland areas. More snow will be concentrated in the mountainous areas of Gangwon province tomorrow than today. Up to 6 centimeters of snow will fall and accumulate by tomorrow. Other inland areas will have about 1 to 3 centimeters and less than 5 millimeters of rain. Tomorrow morning will start off at 2 degrees Celsius in Seoul, Daejeon, Gwangju, Daegu, and Gyeongju. Daytime temperature in Seoul will move up to 8, Daegu and Busan 11 degrees Celsius. The sky will clear up from Friday, but the cold snap is expected to continue until the end of the week, when morning temperatures in Seoul will fall below 0. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
And that is Newscenter for tonight. Thank you for watching. A panel session coming up.